Rebecca's journey with Cleopatra started in 2010 when she decided to become the mother of a child with a disability. Cleo was the daughter of the man she loved. It was a conscious choice Rebecca made to become Cleo's primary caregiver. Her husband is the main breadwinner of the family. This is their story. I met Cleo's father around 2010 and we started dating. He had a daughter, Cleopatra, who had been staying with her aunt since her mother died in 2006. Cleo had a disability. Every night her father would go to the aunt's house to take care of her. It was a big job. At some point we realized that her aunt was not coping, and her father was torn between starting a life with me and looking after his daughter. So I said to him, "We're starting a life together. Let's look to the future with Cleo. I will become her mother." And that's how she came into my life. When Cleopatra came to stay, she was about 8 years old. She could walk, and although she couldn't talk, she could communicate with sounds. She was prone to epileptic fits and took daily medication for that. I learned from the doctors that Cleo had had TB meningitis when she was 6 months old. That is when she started to have seizures. I knew I had to learn how to look after her. I decided to be the best stepmom because I had had a bad stepmom. She never wanted me. Her rejection of me pushed me to other things, and at 17 I had a baby and I couldn't complete school. That was the end of my dreams. So when Cleo came into my life, I wanted to give her the best, and I started to love her. It was a big adjustment. I had 2 other children and she needed special care. I remember how she would always pick flowers in the garden and pull them apart, even the ones that had just opened. She would wait until I was at the shop, then she would run out and break off the flowers and sit and shred them. At first, it upset me, but then we just got used to it. Even my 2 sons really care for her. They got to love her, and that's how we went on. All was well, and we were getting used to each other. Then in late 2011, Cleo had a very severe seizure. She became very ill and was like a baby. She couldn't really talk before, but after the seizure, she became completely quiet. She had to eat through a feeding tube. She lost her ability to walk and had to be carried or use a pushchair. It was very hard. Her recovery was very slow. It was 3 years before they removed the feeding tube in 2014, and she learned how to eat and swallow by herself. We live in a simple house that we built for ourselves, and we realized that it wasn't built for people with disabilities. There was nothing to make it easier for Cleo. For example, she had to share a room with my sons, and she has special needs. When she was lying on the bed to be washed, she needed privacy. So we modified our house and built Cleo her own room. We had to place her bed safely in case she experienced a fit, so that she didn't fall off. It was not easy, but I am glad we were able to do it. You know, I really think that the home must be built for her because she will never leave the house. This is her home. She won't be able to pack up her things and move. It's her house and she should stay here. In 2015, we were able to borrow a wheelchair from the St. Sebastians school to help with her mobility. It was good to have, but as she grew, she didn't fit in the chair properly. We applied for her own one at the clinic and waited 5 years to get it. Then, in August 2021, Cleo got her very first wheelchair and we were so excited. It made our lives so much easier. Sitting in this chair is more comfortable for her, but at every stage there is a challenge. Now I have another problem. I struggle to put her into the chair when I'm alone with her. She's a big girl and it's difficult for me to pick her up and put her in. But at least she's comfortable. And now we're at the same height when we sit at the table. Before we got it, she was too low. Now she sits at the table and feeds herself easily. We are also able to go to church with her. We can take a walk up to the school when there's a special day and Teacher Christine invites us. And when she doesn't feel well, we can get her in the wheelchair and take her to the clinic. It's very convenient. Many people in the community see me with my daughter Cleo. They don't know that I chose to be her mother, and I have learned a lot from her.